Hi. If you're watching this on the replay on YouTube or somewhere where I've sent you the link from, then please just ignore this first bit because I'm just going to give it a few seconds for Mark Zuckerberg to do his thing and let people who are watching this live on Facebook know that I'm live here in my Facebook group, which is Stronger Than Your Mind, Mental Health Support and Wellbeing for Mamas. If you are watching this somewhere else, the link will be somewhere, anywhere. Or just pop me a message if you want to get in the group. But for those who are in my group, hello. I'm giving it a few seconds for you all to get the notification that I'm here and that I'm live while I drink. In fact, I'm going to leave my lid off. I drink so much on my lives. So hello. It's Thursday lunchtime, the 4th, I have to think then, the 4th of August. And we are live. I'll just quickly say while Facebook's doing its thing, because I am definitely going to be repurposing this video and posting it to my YouTube channel, and then I'll be probably sharing the links for quite a while going forward, because it is such a big topic, such a sensitive topic, and a topic that really needs speaking about. So for those who don't know, or for anyone who is new to joining my group as well, I am Nicola Parker. I am the owner of Stronger Than Your Mind. We used to be a really big group here on Facebook, but back in March I lost my original Facebook account, so this group is being rebuilt now. I'm a qualified counsellor, loads many other hats to my name, qualified counsellor, qualified personal trainer, been studying LLP, I've done psychology, social, all the ologies basically. So I've turned my pains into my passions, and I help mamas who are struggling with their moods, with their mental health, to take control of their moods and emotions. And today we're going to be talking about a really sensitive topic, and so because I am doing this live on Facebook, and because I will be putting it on other platforms as well going forward, understandably so, lots of different social media platforms are trying to manage the sort of content that is being shown. So for that reason, some words are banned, and it's not in a way to say they don't want people to talk about them, but equally they don't want people who are struggling with certain feelings to think that it's okay to do certain things or to be shown things. So in this particular subject, there was a lot of pictures where it was kind of promoting it rather than giving support for it. So for that reason, I am going to have to be really careful with what I say, so I don't end up getting myself in Facebook jail. So what I'm going to say is the actual title of this live has the word in it in a very delicate way. So what I'm going to say from this point on is that we are going to be discussing overwhelming emotions and self-releasing. So on that note, if you don't feel like you are safe right now and that you're in a crisis point and you don't feel able to keep yourself safe if you are triggered, then please don't continue watching this video, because this is going to be discussing quite really sensitive subject. So I'm going to just tell you really briefly about my story with self-releasing. And I'm going to have a drink before I crack on. Don't know why my throat goes so live. So dry when I go live. My verbal diarrhea at the minute has just gone insane. It's really bad, but they don't really do any medication for that stuff, do they? Like, you can get Imodium when you've got actual diarrhea, but not when you just got verbal diarrhea. So my story with self-releasing. I started self-releasing at a really young age. So I don't really remember my first time and how old I was. But what I do remember is the relief that I got from self-releasing, hence why I chose that word to disguise what I'm trying to fully say. For me, it was like a balloon being popped. I didn't feel pain, I just felt the warm sensation, and then I saw the colour popping on my skin, and it felt like a sense of calm. So I've just got so distracted. I'm in my bedroom and I've just looked over to my bedding, which has all been stripped, and I could just see someone in it, but I think my daughter's just shoved Daddy Pig in my bed. But yeah, that just absolutely threw me off topic, that. So yeah, So I started probably about the age of 10, roughly, until way into my late 20s. So it was something that I've relied upon for decades. It was my go-to for me when things were overwhelming or when I felt numb. So lots of people who don't, if you're not someone who necessarily does self-release, a lot of people can be very confused, or you might even not know why you do it yourself. So whether it's because you don't do it and you wonder why, maybe a relative or a friend does it, or maybe you've had thoughts about it, or if you do it and you're not sure why do you even do that? 'Cause sometimes we do something and we don't necessarily know why. So if you don't self-release as well, that doesn't mean that you won't use other methods to get the same feeling that we're discussing here. So I think we'll all associate with the why as well. And I know the why was certainly true for me. The why basically is to, in some instances, is to take back an element of control. Because often we are wanting to run away or distract from thoughts and emotions that are too intense for us to cope with. Or it can be the opposite. It can be that we're feeling really numb. Particularly for people like myself with borderline personality disorder or emotional personality disorder, whichever one you call it, who do something which is called disassociating. So you can be very numb and very disattached from yourself. So self-releasing can be a way to just feel something, to feel anything, to try and bring yourself back into the present, if you like. It can also be a sense of self-punishment, maybe due to guilt or trauma. A lot of people do this with food as well, with self-releasing. So it could be something that you've eaten or you haven't eaten. So often, like that kind of, I'm kind of going off onto a different topic there really, but often self-release and eating disorders can go hand in hand, because it can be kind of a way of punishment because of something that's maybe been eaten. And so yeah, the two can kind of interlink, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, so to speak. I'm just going to stick with the self-release inside of it. So food as a punishment can be one example, but you can be punishing yourself for maybe something you've said, maybe something you've done, maybe you've just exploded at the kids, and so you go punish yourself in that way. So it can be to distract from thoughts, it can be because you're feeling numb, or it can be as a form of punishment that makes you feel like you can then move on from that punishment you're giving to yourself. So there are many reasons, and self-release can be in many different forms as well. Like I said, it can be with food, it can be physically. So can you relate to any of these feelings? Even if you don't necessarily self-release, are any of these feelings or these situations ringing a bell for you and thinking, yeah, I completely relate to this? And what I'm going to ask now is going to be quite hard to ask, but hopefully, because if you're watching this live or on replay in the actual group where this has been posted, then you're in a group full of people like you. So what I'm going to ask is, if this is resonating with you, please do just leave a comment, leave an emoji. Thank you so much, Ada. Ada has just commented live and said, yeah, too relatable. So it is really, you know, easy for me to sit here and say these things, but it's very hard to then be the first one to kind of like, yeah, do you know what, that's me too, I'm really getting all that, that's really making sense. So one, I'm so proud of you, Ada, for doing that, and thank you. And hopefully that'll now give more of you the confidence, like, well, yeah, once one person said it, normally others will be like, do you know what, I feel comfortable too. So when I've had a drink, what we're going to talk about now is what alternatives you can do. What alternatives can you do when you're struggling with them overwhelming emotions, the numb feeling, or wanting to give yourself a form of punishment for whatever reason it might be? So then it can seem too daunting, can't it, to even ask what to do instead. Seen as self-releasing is a coping mechanism to such intense things, and in an effect these things are what you're unable to cope with. So to say, well, let's look at the source, it can be too much. It is something that I would agree with, that, you know, back when I was in my deepest, darkest days, I wouldn't want to look at the source of it, because that was the whole point of using self-releasing as a method. However, initially, in those crisis moments, I would say to try and use a stop technique. You're gonna laugh at mine, but I'm just gonna share it with you anyway. I always used to link mine to a song. So you want to literally try and stop yourself in the moment. Can we just remember my 90s kid here? So I would literally say stop, and then I would go into the song from the Spice Girls. Don't even know it. Let's do the action. Stop right now. Thank you very much. I'm not a singer, but yeah. So I'd go into that in my head, because then it would have me singing. I'm not saying it'd instantly lift my mood and have me dancing, but I know every single lyric to that song. And then ask yourself, which is it? Which reason is it? Which emotion is it that you're wanting to release from? So is it to distract from a painful memory? Is it to distract from feeling hurt, sad, or angry, or lonely? Is it to distract from really intrusive thoughts? Is it because you're feeling numb? Once you've identified the why of why you're doing it, so you don't have to look at the source, just why you're doing it. So you give yourself that stop, and then you're asking yourself why. Why is it you're doing it? You don't need to get to like, oh, the really nitty-gritty of the source, but just the emotion, just the surface level of it. What is the emotion you're trying to get away from, or that is overwhelming? And once you've identified the why, you can then try and work on that specific emotion instead. And this is something that we get more deeper into. It's quite hard to give a kind of general all-round quick thing on a live, so it is something that we do get deeper into in the Stronger Than Your Mind Academy, where we have a whole unit on self-harming. Oh, just said the word, self-releasing. But for now, I would ask yourself, is there a different way? And if it is anger, you can try screaming into a pillow. We do that a lot in this house at the minute. So you can do it at least 3 times and get louder and louder each time. The first time you do it, you kind of be like, ah, and then it's like, do it again, and then the third time you're like, you're going all in now, get it out. If it's sadness, try and allow yourself to cry. And I know this can be really scary, and you can think, I'm never going to stop. So harnessing, yeah, that's what I said, self-harnessing. I've just lost myself. I have got notes. I don't usually take notes, and I find it hard when I do notes, but I have got notes for this because it is such a big topic. So where was I? Sadness. If it's sadness, try and allow yourself to cry, and set a timer so that you're not worried that you will get lost in it. Like I just said then, like I got lost in my notes. Set yourself a timer. I'm having to hold my hand on my notes, because when I think, do you know what, I'm just going to bring them here. I can't see them that far. Face give me a note. So set a timer that goes off. So I don't want to give you a specific time, but I'd say no more than 10 minutes. And then as soon as the timer goes off, put on a happy song, if you've got a go-to happy song, or write down 3 of your funniest or happiest memories. They might be the same memory you use all the time, it might be different. So this way, the way of doing this, of focusing on the emotion, be it anger, be it sadness, you're focusing on the specific emotion. And in the academy, that's where we help you to create a list of your potential emotions, of like what are your kind of usual emotions that lead you to self-releasing. And then we'd look at what would work best for you in each moment then. So we'd look at, you know, I've just give that some suggestions of screaming into a pillow, or setting a timer for crying, and then doing a specific task after it. But obviously in the academy, we can go more deeper and more personalised to you on each little element there. But the main point here, what I'm trying to just give it a whole round approach is, the main point is to really focus on why you're doing it. And if you are using another method of self-release at the minute, such as food, you can still try these methods as well. So self-releasing is very common to do it in the physical sense of what I'm talking about here, but then we all self-release in different ways, such as with food and different ways. So these techniques will work if you're going to say eat something that you consider bad or that you are going to feel guilty for afterwards, ask yourself what the emotion is that is making you want to go and grab that item of food, or go and, you know, a lot of people self-release by going on financial binges, on shopping binges. So what emotion is it that is making you want to go on that shopping binge right now? So these techniques will still work for whatever form of self-release it is, for whatever overwhelming emotions it is you're trying to distract from, because the more we're trying to distract from emotion, the bigger it is going to come in. I talk a lot in the academy about the pink elephant effect. The more I said to you now, don't think about a pink elephant. No matter what you do, I'm talking to you now, don't think about a pink elephant. You'll have just thought of a pink elephant. If you've got a picture brain like me, you'll have just pictured that pink elephant in your head. So when we just try and distract from something, it is just going to regroup and come back 10 times bigger. That elephant has now got an army. It's probably called a herd in it, a herd of elephants with it. So let's also look at alternatives. So I've just said there, look at the emotion and why, and then look at how you can deal with each of them emotions specifically. And said that in the academy we're going to these more detailed and more personal to you. But then what are the alternatives to self-releasing in the physical sense that I'm talking of? Self-harnessing. I'm going to go with that. The word that sounds similar to harnessing. So let's be honest, you've probably, if you listen to me now, and this is something you've already been doing before, you've probably been self-releasing for quite a long time. Like I said at the start, at least 10 decades. 10 decades? How old am I? At least a decade for me, at least 10 decades. That's because I was thinking 10 years. So to expect yourself to suddenly stop is unrealistic. It is. It really is. And you won't create any long-term change either if you expect yourself to just stop. I know when I was quite intense with it, my partner gave me an ultimatum and was like, if you do that again, we're done. And as much as I appreciate where he was coming from, that is not good to do to somebody or to expect of somebody. It really isn't. I don't have any, like I said, I know it was coming from a place of love, so that's fine. So I always try and say, try what we've just talked about, but it will take time, and there will be moments where it's still too intense and you'll want to self-release. Do not punish yourself for that. Do not punish yourself for the fact you've just had to use self-release to help you to cope with a situation. But how can you do that getting the same feeling of self-releasing but with different methods? Okay, so here's a few what were my go-tos when I was really struggling to wean off self-releasing, let's say. So ice cubes is a very common one. Placing it on the area you'd usually use for self-releasing, because it will make the area go numb. It'll give that sensation of feeling. It is a really good method. It's just having ice cubes in. I should have one here, but I don't. I'd say bubbles. Probably just showed off how messy and unorganised the drawer is. Bubbles rather than elastic bands. So if you're somebody who self-releases in that particular area, getting a bubble there can be helpful to then just be pinging the bubble. Elastic bands are too harsh, and I have used elastic band as a self-release but actually caused a situation. I don't want to say that, I'll just say injury. So yeah, I'd specifically say bubbles. I know a lot of people say elastic bands, but I'd say bubbles that are, you know, that can you see the hairs on it, that are not going to then cause a breakage in the thing, basically. Exercise, but again, you've got to be really mindful of this one. I'm a massive fan of exercise. I promote exercise all the time for your mental health, but it can turn into a form of self-harm as well. Self-harnessing. I said self-harnessing. This is why I wrote notes, because I thought if I read from my notes, I'll read self-releasing instead of, yeah. So set a timer, similar to what I said, where if you're going to allow yourself to cry, set a timer and a limit to once per day. If you do I started to set a timer for 30 seconds. Oh, that was it. Yeah, I've gone off myself in my notes. So set a timer and limit to once per day. But if you do end up self-releasing, set a timer again. There's lots of timers here, isn't there? So exercise, yeah, set a timer, an hour, and then once a day, that's it. But then if you do end up self-releasing, set a timer and a limit. So I started to set a timer for 30 seconds. and I draw a small circle. So it was a much smaller area, and it was also in a safer place as well. Obviously, I'm no way saying that you should continue to self-release, and I'm not advocating it in any way, shape or form. I just think it is important to say that I'm being realist. Like, I don't read from my notes. I'm being realist in managing our expectations here, but also based off my own personal experiences as well. We can't expect or be able to flick a switch and to stop a learned behaviour straight away. It's just not going to happen. So being as safe as possible while working on that switch is what this video is about, this live, sorry. So on that note, I would say if you're watching if you're watching this live, whatever it is, and you're feeling like you will never be free of self-releasing in whatever form that it is you're using, then I do promise you that you will be free of it, and you can control it. I'm living, breathing and proof of that, and I will never judge you for releasing. I totally understand why, and I've been there myself. Like I said, I've used it as a coping mechanism for over a decade, not 10 decades. But that was before I started to create and implement the tools and strategies for my mental health, like some of the ways that we've talked about today, and all the ones that within the Stronger Than Your Mind Academy. Like I said, there is a whole unit on self-releasing in the Academy, which is within topic 4 out of 5 in the Academy, which is the Conditioning Your Mind topic. There are 5 topics in the Academy, which all have subunits in them. The 5 topics are accepting your mind, understanding your mind, resetting your mind, conditioning your mind, and stronger than your mind. So if you have found today useful and you want to go a lot deeper into all of those areas and all of the areas related to your moods and emotions, so that you can take control of your mind, then make sure you signed up to the waiting list to be the first to know when the doors to the Academy reopen again. I just heard a right weird beep, like it was my laptop, and I'm not even in the room with my laptop. What on earth was that? So if you wanted to find out more about the Academy, I will leave a link in the comments here, but also wherever you're watching this from. So if you're watching this from YouTube, it'll be in the description, or wherever, there'll be a link somewhere. If not, just feel free to pop me a message on whatever platform it is you're watching this on. And on that note, if today has been triggering for you in any way, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself. But I'm not here on an immediate basis. It is instant. It is summer holidays here at the time of recording this. I am jumping straight out of the house. I'm running straight out of the house after this. So if you're needing immediate support, then please call 116 123. That's 116 123, and that is the number for the Samaritans. That's a UK number, and that'll mean you can get to speak to someone straight away. So that's it for today's topic. I will be back on Monday. It'll be a much lighter topic on Monday. I'll be back live here in the groups. If you're watching this somewhere else, like I said, come and join us in the group. We have live such as this, and then on Monday it's International Friendship Day. So please make sure you come and join me on Monday's live, so I do actually have some friends to be talking to on International Friendship Day, and see how I'm going to manipulate International Friendship Day for a topic, for a group that is to help you with your moods and emotions and your overall mental health. Been a very heavy topic today. Don't usually take notes, but I hope you can appreciate why I've done that today. It was just to make sure I did get every point across, even though I got lost a billion times, and that's why I hate doing notes. But yeah, if you're struggling, always reach out. I promise you one thing, you are not alone. I've been there. Lots of people are in that same situation. It doesn't mean you are bad, doesn't mean you are wrong. It shouldn't be such a taboo and nasty topic to talk about, and I do understand why the social media platforms do limit the words and ban the words and that, so that it's not seen as a way to find information for how to do it, but it just means when it comes to getting support for it, it can be harder, and it can stop people in the industry like myself from talking about it because you're worried about getting banned. But hey, what? They've took my account off me before, they can do it again and I'll still come back. So there's always somebody here for you, and I'm always here for you as well, and everybody in this group is here for each other because we're all here for the same reason. So I feel weird going on such a heavy note. It's like, on that note, have a great day. But yeah, on that note, I will see you back live in the group on Monday, roughly between late morning, lunchtime-ish, and it'll be International Friendship Day. So I'd really appreciate it if you see me on live, come and join me. Don't leave me with no friends. And I will see you all soon. Take care.